All right, what up, my fantasy people? Jon Mosales here. It's week 9. We got Patrick Leary joining us for the first time, Anthony Quaranta. What up, guys?
How's it going?
All right, perfect. All right, so yeah, we got week 9. We got a bunch of great games. We got a bunch of injuries, the usual. Well, we're gonna handle all your questions. If you're watching us on Twitter, jump over to YouTube. That's the way you can ask questions, or check us out on our Discord. Either way, let's jump into it. Patrick Leary's been doing our waiver wire article all week, all year, all season. So we're gonna, go into that, talk about some stuff. Anthony does our previews. Were you doing the early or late preview this week, Anthony?
I did the early preview this week. I've been splitting it up with Nathan, we kind of flip flop every week. He did the late window and primetime games.
Okay. So yeah, we got week 9. We got a bunch of inactives, a bunch of people trying to play. Nothing shocking. Anything jump out at you, Anthony? Week 9, fantasy wise, what's popping?
I am in on a Dak bounce back week, and I think that might be my biggest takeaway. The Falcons aren't that great against quarterbacks, and Dak has his home road splits are in favor of him being on the road. To be honest, he's thrown 4 more touchdowns on the road than he has at home. He's played 1 more game on the road, but that doesn't usually equate to 4 touchdowns. His completion percentage is 10 points better on the road as well. So I like Dak to have a bounce back game. I think he can finish as a QB1, as he's kind of been left for dead the past couple of weeks due to his performance. So I think that's one thing that really stuck out to me when doing the early previews.
Yeah, I remember Brian said that we were doing who your dark horses guys to finish as the top position, and he was like, yeah, he liked Dak. Right, him and CD kind of seemed like they got it on the same page last week. They're the 2 late touchdowns. But yeah, the bizarro Jared Goff back in the road. Okay, I like that. Patrick, what about you? Anything jump out at you? You're doing a lot of research in the lab.
The guy who I really love this week, and I think is quickly becoming one of my favorite players, and he's also maybe one of the more interesting fantasy players, is Josh Downs. He's so underrated. Like, nobody really talks about him as like a really talented guy, but everyone in Indianapolis just absolutely gushes about him. And this is the perfect situation for the switch to flip for him this week, because he's just historically been so much better with Flacco than Richardson. And this is obviously the big Flacco week because of the sort of controversial Richardson benching. And I think Josh Downs is just like a really, really talented wide receiver who really benefits from there being an actual pocket passer as opposed to Anthony Richardson chaos ball, or however you want to describe how he plays.
Yeah, at Jason Baum, he's been repping Josh Downs all year. So let's just jump right into So he was hurt to start. So when did you put him on the waiver wire on the article? When did he get into the podium?
So yeah, the only reason I think he was available from the jump was because of that injury. Around like week 3 or week 4 was when he was like starting to come back, and he definitely had ticked under the 50% threshold from the fact that he probably, if he didn't have the ankle injury it was about 3 or 4 weeks before the season, he would have gone probably 11th, 12th round most places, probably would have been like right on the threshold for being considered a waiver wire guy. But then obviously missing those first couple of weeks tipped it towards the waiver wire direction. I think I've written him up, off and on, because he that uncertainty with Richardson, he has had some down weeks with Richardson, and he's been reliably great with Flacco. And so that sort of interchange of them at quarterback when Richardson went down and now then came back to start and is now on the bench again has kind of been a factor.
He kind of flew under the radar because Michael Pittman, Anthony's guy, I remind him every week, right?
For sure.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Man. Talk about a guy who's maybe the most boring fantasy player to possibly own is 2024 Michael Pittman, because he was good last year, but it's just kind of it's really tough stuff. But yeah, Alec Pierce had that really weird start to the season where he was kind of reliably catching crazy bombs, and so he kind of popped up on everyone's radar, but he's really just kind of that player, and that's not a player that you can really assign any sort of consistent fantasy value to. And then Josh Downs actually caught the successful Anthony Richardson bomb last week, which was crazy. It's like, Josh Downs is basically, before last week, is a full no-go whenever Richardson plays quarterback, because he's kind of like a volume guy, and Richardson never completes enough passes to support a volume guy. But he actually got the deep ball too from Richardson last week, so that was really encouraging. But
yeah, I remember.
I
was people. Sorry, people were drafting
No,
Donnie Mitchell over Downs over everyone. So yeah, Josh.
yeah,
Downs.
he's an interesting player. I just think at this stage he's got a lot of progress still to make, whereas Downs is very refined. And yeah, so week 4, week 5, week 6, Downs had 9, 12, and 9 targets, 8, 9, and 7 catches, and 2 touchdowns in those weeks, 82, 69, 66 yards. And then last week he caught a bomb and was 4, 109, and 1. But those heavy volume weeks where he's kind of, especially like a PPR type monster, was with Flacco. So it's Flacco back, and he's, I mean, as much as Pittman obviously got paid and is their number one, Downs really with Flacco has been their best performer.
Yeah, I can't wait for that game. I'm gonna have 100 Justin Jefferson bets. So Anthony, what's your get everyone in game fantasy wise? Let's go top 2. What do we who we smashing no matter what? You can stick with the 1 o'clock.
No, I mean, I've got the whole schedule pulled up. Okay. Top 2 get everybody in games. I like the Dallas Atlanta game. I know I talked about Dak earlier, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think that's going to be a good game to watch. Kirk Cousins finally has the Falcons offense rolling, it seems, and kind of where they thought that they were going to be maybe a little earlier in the season, just needed to knock off some rust. So I like a lot of pieces in that game. Lamb.
Right, yeah, we're obviously starting Lamb, we're starting Drake, we're starting Pitts at tight end, but we're a little deeper, right?
Yeah, we're starting Bijan, obviously.
Yeah.
I love Darnell Mooney. I think he's a great wide receiver too. For you this week,
Darnell Mooney's been awesome. I love. Yeah. He's the guy that everyone's brain in draft season was like, oh well, like surely like the second receiver on the Kirk Cousins Falcons will be good, and Darnell Mooney's a guy that we've trusted before, but like no one could get him quite into like past like around 11 or 12 in drafts, and so you kind of just drafted him at the end, and then that first week was a catastrophe, and so everyone kind of was like, oh no, maybe this Darnell Mooney thing is not going to work, and then it's just been amazing for the entire run.
He's got to be another guy, top 3, top 5 waiver guys of the season, right? Because he wasn't drafted.
I think he actually was drafted more, so I don't think he ever really got down to the threshold, and it was just truly 1 week where the Falcons off, like the first week Kirk didn't run any play action, couldn't move in the pocket. And it was like, looked like the worst thing ever. And he might've just been Tomlin, or he just didn't have the playbook fully available yet, or whatever it was. But
he's old, Achilles.
Yeah.
Anthony, what's the other game?
The other game I like getting folks in would probably be, I think I'm going to go Miami Buffalo Indy or Indy Minnesota. I'll kind of give you 3 there. I just think that they're going to be high score games, especially in the night game tonight in Minnesota with Joe Flacco. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Offensive, the Colts defense isn't very good. I know the Vikings defense is, but I don't think they've been that great over the past couple of weeks. And then Miami, Buffalo, 2 high power offenses with Tua back. Division game. They usually score a bunch of points when they play each other. So a lot of big names in all 3 of those games, if you can, again, include Dallas.
The Bills kind of own Miami, though. And I know, like, Tyreek, it's like the one team Tyreek doesn't go off on. So, like, obviously you're starting Tyreek, but, like, does that give Waddle a bump? I know a Chains might be, because the Bills are terrible against, like, running back receivers.
Yeah, I like Jalen Waddle as like a fringe wide receiver 2 flex. I think he definitely makes your lineup this week unless you're just incredibly deep at wide receiver. Um, I like him a lot. Obviously, Achan. I think you can start Raheem Mostert with some confidence. The Bills aren't that great against the run.
No.
And then on the flip side, um, I like Keon Coleman a bit this week.
Cooper's
Um,
questionable, but I feel like he's going to play. But we still got
yeah,
to get that update.
yeah, we do. I know that Cooper didn't really have a great game last week. I'm not so sure he will either. He's still kind of trying to get up to speed, but he played about twice as many snaps as he did in week 1, and
Okay.
that really opened the offense up for guys like Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir to kind of score a bunch of points. So I think as long as Amari Cooper's out there, it kind of opens things up a little bit. Although Miami is a really tough defense to play against if you're a wide receiver.
Oh, I didn't know. So Shakir must
Yeah.
start, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. If
Uh,
Cooper's
I,
out, must start, but not maybe kind of what fringe right now.
Yeah, I think if Cooper's out, obviously Coleman and Shakir get a bit of a bump. I think that they probably top out as mid-tier wide receiver 2s. If you're talking about their ceiling this week, just because Miami is a good pass defense. But I like both. I think that they can both be started again as fringe wide receiver 2s if Cooper's out, and if Cooper's in, I think that they should still be priority flex plays for you. If you're toying between a couple options and it's Khalil Shakir or this guy or Keon Coleman or that guy, there's a good chance the answer might be Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir.
Okay, great. That's what I love here. Okay, let's get to a couple questions here. We got Wayne D came in early, which I love. Pre-question. Morning, guys. Morning. It's also daylight savings time. So I don't know. I didn't realize that. I got my car and it said it was 10:15. I was like, what? But it hadn't switched. Anyways, all right. So who to start at QB? I've lost faith in Mahomes. Well, better late than never. Is this the week he goes off? Mahomes or Bo Nix? Thanks. All right, Pat. I'm going to give this to you. So we got Juju's going to be out. Right. We got Kansas City's playing the Monday nighter against Tampa, and then we got Denver playing Ravens, who just give up massive yards to every QB.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bo Nix is probably the higher ceiling play.
Isn't that crazy?
As crazy as that is, like Bo Nix has been absolutely carving up these bad defenses. I mean, the Panthers game last week was pure and simple. I faced a guy who had to make a decision between Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix last week when Jaden Daniels was, uncertain. And Jaden Daniels ended up having a great game, ironically, or a good game, ironically enough, because of that Hail Mary at the end. But Bo Nix was the clear choice because against the terrible Panthers defense, he just carved it up. And yeah, like you said, the Ravens defense has allowed so many points to passing attacks this year. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't really compute with what we've known about the Ravens for however long. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes it's been really difficult to predict what Mahomes will do. Whereas Bo Nix, I think you're just like, oh, he's against a bad team. So he's either going to be chasing the whole game, which is like where all of his fantasy value comes from when he's scrambling for his life at trying to chase down a 7 to 10 point deficit at the end, or he's just gonna have clear sailing all day. So yeah, I really do actually think Bo Nix, even though that sounds kind of crazy to say.
Blasphemous, I know. So yeah, this is like my favorite kind of fantasy conundrum, right? What do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want Mahomes, at home playing a bad defense, right? Where maybe run up the score, or Knicks on the road, but negative game script because they're a big dog, so maybe he's chasing points.
Yeah. I mean, he's such a chaser.
Is this for Anthony?
I am actually going to go Patrick Mahomes here. And I'm going to talk a lot about Bo Nix to make my point, which is maybe a little strange. But so Bo Nix he's been really great, especially over the past 4 or 5 weeks. But his home road splits, I wrote about this game, and yeah, I did a deep dive on Bo Nix because he's the quarterback 9, I think, this season or something like that.
Crazy.
It's not something that I expect. I don't think most people expected that midway through his rookie season. So I really wanted to see what this would look like for Bo Nix because I know that the Ravens are a bad pass defense, but this kind of feels like it could be a trap game, and here's why. Bo Nix has thrown 7 of his 8 touchdown passes this season at home.
Ooh.
Like
Yeah.
that.
So
I like that.
I mean
That's pretty
his rushing floor, obviously gives him the upside. He's obviously not like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, but he'll get you some sneaky rushing yards to kind of keep you afloat. But
a lot. Yeah, he had like 74 the other weekend.
yeah. He's also thrown for about 400 less yards on the road than he is when he's playing in Denver. So while I like Bo Nix, I just can't ignore those crazy home road splits. I know Baltimore's defense, at least the passing defense, is leakier than the faucet in my bathroom at the moment. But
Marlon Humphrey's gonna play. I just saw that. So yeah,
okay.
Kyle Hamilton.
So I like Bo Nix as a QB2 this week. But largely that's why I'm going to go with Mahomes. He's at home as well. Like you said, John, it's a bad defense. I just like Mahomes. I think with D-Hop getting another week, they might be able to get it going. So yeah, I like Patrick Mahomes this week over Bo Nix.
Okay. So you guys are split, tiebreaker. What am I gonna do? Anthony, you convinced me, man. That home road. Otherwise, I was gonna go next. But yeah, I'd rather look stupid playing Mahomes than playing Bo Nix.
And I think that's totally valid too. Like, Mahomes is you might look stupid playing Bo Nix over Mahomes, and then you'll be like, oh my God, did I just trick myself into the dumbest decision?
Yeah, reverse galaxy brain. Oh, all right, well, Hayden, we broke that down as much as we can. All right, we got Kyle Singer, full PPR. So we got a couple questions. So I'll go first one, we'll go Patrick, then I'll go Anthony, and then maybe I'll take the third. So Jordan Love, who looks like he's going to play with a groin injury, or Kirk Cousins, Cowboys, terrible defense. Kirk's at home. All right, Patrick, what are we doing?
I would play Kirk, and the only reason is I am just generally really averse to play guys in this sort of injury circumstance. I mean, Love got hurt in the game last week and didn't finish it, and now is playing, suiting up and playing this big game, and I think there's too much inherent injury risk to play Love in a big game like this versus Cousins, like you said, at home in a more comfortable environment. And Micah Parsons still out, right? Like he's not he's not close. So yeah, I just think Cousins, that's going to be high scoring. The over under in that game is like 52 or something crazy high. Like that's going to just be
and I like the over
a pass fest. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not sure. Maybe it's set up to try to get you to take the over, but as far as like fantasy goes, I mean, I would trust Cousins. I'm playing Baker Mayfield over Love in one of my leagues.
Okay, nice. I love that. Yeah,
because I don't like playing the injured quarterback.
And also, shout out Larry Venazzi, rain. We're expecting some terrible weather in that game, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. So for me, I'm a big weather. I'm getting my wide receivers.
Oh yeah, if it's raining, absolutely.
So we'll talk about that too in a bit. How much do we downgrade the receivers? Because theoretically, that's a great shootout game. You could have a whole fantasy team just from Detroit, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony, what do we got? So we got Jalen McMillan, who I saw he popped up the injury report. He's questionable. Or Romeo Doubs in a bad weather game. Ooh.
I think I'm still gonna go Romeo Doubs.
Romeo.
It's a better offense. I know McMillan's gonna have the opportunity, but the Chiefs are really, really good against the
number
pass.
one wideouts. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really a matchup play here. The Lions aren't great against receivers. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but they're in the bottom half against receivers. Even with the weather, I'd rather trust Doubs than I would McMillan this week.
Yeah, I'd wonder maybe if you have a third choice. I'd try and get off both of them. But Dobbs has, that wide receiver room keeps flipping every couple of weeks.
You want to talk about a weird fantasy season, Romeo Dobbs' fantasy season, where he quit the team in the middle of the of like week 4, and now is like come back and been their best receiver for 3 weeks. It's so weird.
ETN is third choice. So what? Travis Etienne is a flex, I guess.
Well, but he's got a lot of uncertainty too. I mean, I bet he'll play, but
I'm not playing Etienne. I guess you go Dobbs. He's been the wide receiver one there, but it's like you're playing with an injured quarterback in a bad weather game, like this could be one of those games where he's got like 124 passing yards, and it's just
Yeah. I'm very out on Packers passing today, probably.
But if it
Maybe
was good
Jaden
weather,
Reed
if
just
it's good
goes.
weather, Dobbs would be a hardcore smash play, right? He'd be a wide receiver too that I would love. He'd be a must start because
My brain just went to maybe Jaden Reed is actually like better when they have to improvise because they'll run all the weird plays for him that they like with like the reverses and the like spacing short routes. So maybe Jaden Reed is like weatherproof in that regard, but
he's got that floor because of the rushing. I'm trying to pull up real quick. I know I'm pretty positive he's
he's
got
the
at
weirdest
least
guy to
one
figure out.
rushing attempt in every. Yeah, he's got at least one rushing attempt in every game this season. He's got 2 rushing attempts in 3 of them. Oddly enough, the past 3 games with his run rushing attempt all equated to 0 yards. But still, he's going to get 1 or 2 attempts on the ground, which kind of boosts his floor a little bit, almost like a Deebo Samuel light type of deal.
Yes, that's a great comp for how he plays because especially like his valuable targets are. It's so strange how like his percentage of valuable targets is just like it's crazy like how much he gets in that regard.
And then we got the last Bengals or Chargers. So I guess this is defense. It actually took me a second to figure out what that is, right? So we got the Bengals playing the Raiders. Raiders, people keep saying have a terrible defense, but every time I check their game log, they're not giving up big, they kind of held Kyron Williams in check. They're holding quarterbacks in check. But I'm not betting against Joe Burrow. So I'd probably take the Chargers, right? Jameis, is he going to play 2 great games in a row? I think you'll probably get some interceptions. Jameis loves the pick 6. So if you're looking
Bengals
at
defense is really bad, isn't it?
The who?
Isn't the Bengals defense really bad? So like, shouldn't you just play the Chargers? Like,
yeah. Bengals. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Bengals these bats, but the Raiders, right? Gardner Minshew's been giving up lots of picks.
Yeah. I think I would just play the good defense.
Yeah, play the good defense. All right, let's not overthink this. All right, Kyle, we broke it down as much as we can. Okay, we got to keep going here. We got a bunch of questions. Love the questions, guys. Again, if you're on Twitter, jump over here. I just saw someone sent me a Twitter question on Twitter. I don't know if I'll get to it maybe in a bit, but if you go to watch on YouTube, you can send them here. All right, Evan Kaner, morning fellas, what up? Half PPR, start 2. Okay. Brian Thomas Jr., who looks like he's going to play, but he was supposed to miss weeks. Lad McConkey, who's kind of emerging. DJ Moore, Jaden Reed. Okay, we'll go Patrick here. For me, I'm probably knocking Reed out for the weather, and he's been shit for 2 weeks. I'm probably knocking out Brian. I don't know, Brian Thomas Jr. He's going to be a monster though, right? Well, I don't know. What are you doing?
The one thing I know that I would do here, I think it's a really difficult decision for the second spot, but I don't think you should. You can't have DJ Moore have like a bad week and take DJ Moore out of your lineup like he did against the Commanders. Like DJ Moore has been great all year. Caleb has been using DJ Moore. Like you can't just like downgrade DJ Moore because Caleb.
Don't overreact. Yep. Okay, DJ Moore would start. Anthony, you agree? Start DJ Moore as 1. Well, you don't like DJ Moore, right?
It's not that I don't like DJ Moore. Yeah, he's probably. I mean, my 2 here are probably Brian Thomas Jr. and DJ Moore, though I do like Lad McConkey a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's finish with Patrick, though. You were meant to, okay, so you're starting DJ Moore 1. So hard 1, and then who are we battling for the second spot?
I think it's BTJ or because Reed, we just argued that Reed has like a weird floor, but I really don't like playing injured players. Like I said that before, and I don't know. I think maybe Brian Thomas is one of those choices where he could either be the obvious answer here,
with everybody hurt,
or he could, because if he's actually able to go, he's a great choice because he'll be the clear target in the offense. If he's hampered though, which who knows, then I think it's McConkey for the second spot because McConkey's just been really excellent lately, and that Chargers offense has no one to throw to but McConkey. So it's tough, but I think I would go with BTJ as well, just because I think he is going to end up being fine, and he is very, very good and has so much opportunity if he's okay.
Eagles secondary though, but that's 4:00 game, right? So the worst is where he said he might play and then he gets ruled out. So
and then
at least you could then pivot to Reed
in the morning. So that's tough.
but
I don't think
it
he's
is
going to
tough.
get ruled out. I think the question would be from an injury perspective is I think maybe he doesn't like play as much or he gets hurt again during the game.
The T.
So I
Higgins
feel
special.
like that's the bigger risk.
Yeah. Anthony, okay, so you were leaning. This is tough. I like this question.
Yeah, this is a great one. So I
This
think
is a
I'm
good wide
definitely
receiver
going.
room. Shout out to this guy.
I think I'm definitely going Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's gonna play because they need somebody to play.
Sure.
And he's been the wide receiver 5 in half-point PPR. So I'm not going to overthink it too much. If he plays, I'm going to play him. And then I would I'll lean DJ Moore because the matchup is better. But I'd be perfectly fine if you wanted to go McConkey. Normally for me it'd be Reed and Brian Thomas Jr., but with a hampered Jordan Love and the rain that Larry suggested is going to occur, it kind of knocks him out for me with these other 3 options.
Yeah, again, depends. What I think Anthony loves to also bring up what's your projected score, right? Are you looking for floor ceiling, right? If you need to show up this week and really, go big, right? You got to take the risk with Brian Thomas Jr. because the Eagles defense, no one to throw to. He could easily finish 2 touchdowns, like 110 yards, right? McConkey's probably a little safer, right? You're probably looking 60 yards, 5 grabs, maybe he scores, But I love Reed, but he's just been garbage the last 2 weeks. I bet him twice. Okay, so hopefully I helped you out, Evan. We're going to move on. We got Michael Epifano. Tight end question. Okay, PPR tight end premium. What does tight end premium mean? Patrick, do you know?
Yeah, that usually means every catch is 1.5 for a tight end instead of 1.
So
yeah,
to help boost tight end value in league.
Super PPR.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So Anthony, what are we doing here? Mark Andrews, Cole Kmet. Who gets the tight end premium boost then between those two? Kmet?
I think I still like Mark Andrews over Cole. I like Cole Kmet this week. I like Cole Kmet a lot actually, but Mark Andrews is kind of just re-emerging in that offense, kind of becoming the number 1 or 1A, 1B with Zay Flowers at this point. So I'm gonna trust the veteran Mark Andrews over the other slightly younger veteran, I guess, Cole Kmet.
But Andrews is getting touchdowns, so he's not really getting the reception. So the tight end premium doesn't really factor into this.
The only thing I would say is Kmet's workload is really inconsistent, so I don't think you can like say, oh, Cole Kmet is more of like he is. It's true. He's more of like a mini Trey McBride type, where he's more of a chain mover than a touchdown guy like Andrews has been recently. But I just think Kmet can kind of fluctuate so much in terms of like how he does that I would just go with the like Anthony said, the emerging Andrews, who's just kind of been pretty good, and they've kind of revived his role in the offense lately.
Okay, double Mark Andrews. Yeah, I mean, I wrote he had like his last 6 grabs, 4 touchdowns, or something ridiculous like that.
That's just so valuable at tight end that cancels out like so much that I would just roll with that.
Cool. Okay, Mark Andrews. Okay, Keston. What up, Kest? What up, guys? My last flex play. Should I play Tillman? 1 p.m. game. Thank you. Wait for Brian Thomas later to see if he plays. If he doesn't, this is a great question, Kest. This is why you're professional. Your backups are Worthy, Rashad White on Monday. Close 1v2 matchup. Okay. What are we thinking, Anthony? What are we thinking? A lot of moving parts here. Brian Thomas said likely to play, so that's probably like 80%.
I'm going to wait for Brian Thomas. Tillman has a disastrous matchup. I know that they're at home. Jameis Winston's always fun. He can certainly have a good game. And
disastrous matchup?
Yeah, the Chargers are really good against receivers.
Okay.
Yeah, the Chargers are great against receivers. I have it here. Give me 1 second. I can pull it up.
Chargers defense, I drafted the Seahawks everywhere because of their bad start, but I picked up the Chargers basically everywhere else once that switched. They're just great defense.
The Chargers are ranked 30th against receivers, meaning that they are the 3rd toughest matchup for receivers this season.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to wait for Brian Thomas. John just said he's likely to play. I think he's probably going to play. I'm going to wait for him. The Eagles, on the other side of it, the Eagles aren't that great there. Bottom 10 or top 10 matchup you want to see for your receivers. I guess I should word it that way. So I'll wait for Brian Thomas there.
Okay, well, I'm going to call a friend to talk. What up, Brian? To talk about, are the Chargers defense really good, or is it just a stat mirage?
Oh, Brian was making an argument last week about their schedule. I think I remember. So, okay, you're bringing in some backup now.
I mean, yeah, I just don't think they've played many good teams, but I also then looked at the future of their schedule, and I don't think they're playing many good teams in the future either. So I mean, I have them in a bunch of leagues just because they've been a cheap defensive pickup, and they've been fine. It's not like they're winning me weeks, but they're fine.
But is this a disastrous matchup for like the Browns receivers? Like
I wouldn't
Cedric
say
Tillman. Like, so what are we? Let's play the game. Cedric Tillman, or I mean, anyone on Green Bay.
I mean, I'd probably do Dobbs and Reed above them.
Okay. Let's see. What are the other ones? DJ Lad McConkey or Cedric Tillman?
Lad McConkey.
Okay. So it's a little disastrous. Okay. Let's see. What
that guy's question also. Worthy and White as his backup options on Monday night are like totally fine to risk Brian Thomas maybe not playing. Like the calculus for that is like, I mean, Worthy and White are almost better start options than Tillman.
Yeah.
So I would almost just like totally like not even consider Tillman, because you could just, first of all, you should just wait for Thomas anyway, but those backup options are almost as good as playing Tillman. So
I agree.
By the way, if you do wait on Brian Thomas and don't play Tillman, which I think it seems like there's a consensus there, and Brian Thomas doesn't play, I would start Xavier Worthy over Rachaad White. I would just shoot for the ceiling against a bad pass defense. Then try to plod your way. I guess it kind of depends on where you're at. If you're
because that's what I would say. Like Monday night, you probably can consider a choice between if you just need like a safe 5 points or whether you need like 20.
Yeah, in a vacuum, I'd play Worthy. If like all things considered, like I said, in a vacuum, I'd go Worthy. But yeah, it'd even give you the opportunity, like Patrick said, to kind of see what you need on Monday night.
I love this question. Ceiling floor, Brian. So what would you do? So we got Worthy, right? No Juju. Hopkins being worked in, might get 1 catch for 30 yards or 5 for 120 with rushing, or Rachaad White, because Baker's really thrown to his running backs now. Ceiling floor, the ultimate question, right? What are you doing? Worthy, White?
I mean, I'm probably doing White. I just feel like he's looked better since he's gotten more volume since the wide receivers have both gone out. I'd say once Mike Evans comes back, I might switch that. But both White and Irving are getting touches in the passing game. They're both above a 10% target share. And he's probably getting like 30% of the rush share. Irving's getting like 35. Sean Tucker's getting 20. It's not attractive, but they just keep bombing the ball, and Baker Mayfield doesn't mind just dumping it off to running backs to get 5 yards. And especially in a full PPR league, that's 1.5 points. Okay. And that happens 4 times a game.
I think just defense. I'd rather have Worthy against Tampa than White against KC, though.
Fair. But if Kansas City gets up early, they're just going to pass the ball the whole time, and you get the easy checkdowns when no one's open long.
Oh, yeah, there's always a counter. Okay, let's move. We got Cesar Contreras. All right, Patrick, we'll start with here. We stashed Ray Davis or Zamir White. I think this one's an easy one.
So is this like is he saying like a redraft, like for when you need like a guy on your bench for later in the season? Is that what he's asking by stash?
I have the exact same information you do, but okay. Let's assume he's saying just keep. Yeah, who are you keeping on the bench?
Oh my God, Ray Davis.
Yeah, right.
Zamir, I don't know what Zamir White's deal is, but I just think the biggest off-season paper tiger I've seen in a really long time. Like just such a mess of a draft season where we were taking him evaluation kind of situation there. I mean, Alexander Madison has totally kicked his ass. Like he's not even been like in the picture there. And I really like Ray Davis, by the way. I've been writing him up on waivers for a while. He's not really getting a ton because they are, using Cook a lot, and they have a lot of wide receivers to throw the ball to, including Kincaid, the tight end. But Ray Davis is a really solid player already, and I haven't seen anything from Zamir White this year that's been good at all. So,
is there a better running back stash in fantasy than Ray Davis?
Off the top of my head, probably not, because I don't think you can consider Tank Bigsby a stash anymore. He may at this point just have standalone value. Charbonnet's up there. Yeah, Charbonnet's up there. That's the one that comes to mind. That's not, like I said, like Bigsby or even Austin Eckler has some standalone value. So not including those guys. Like if we're talking Pierre Handcuff, yeah, it'd probably be Ray Davis or Zach Charbonnet are probably the best two off the top of my head.
Brian, anyone jump out at you?
Jonathan Brooks.
Is he ever going to play?
What do you do with him?
I saw something that Dave Canales, the head coach over there, I don't know how serious he was, but a reporter asked him if there was a possibility of Jonathan Brooks not playing at all this year, and he said could be. Again, I don't know how true that is, but I've always kind of thought I was really big on Chuba Hubbard this during draft season as a late running back, because I've always said like if the Panthers are going to be bad this year, like they're going to be really bad. Like at a certain point, they're going to be out of it by Thanksgiving, by Halloween even. They are. Why are you going
by Canadian Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Why are you going to trot out your second round running back coming off of an ACL injury to get 150 touches on an offense and a team that's going nowhere? And Chuba Hubbard has been playing really well. So it wouldn't shock me personally if Brooks doesn't play at all. I think they probably would play him, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't put him out there this season and just let him get a full offseason, a full training camp, and ready to roll for next season.
I mean, I think with the stashes, you're basically waiting for injury. So I agree Truba's looked good, but if he gets hurt,
right,
like why not see what your rookie has? Like you pretty much everyone's on the chopping block on that team. Like every single person in that building, probably even the janitor, like you're just going to see what you have there. So it's just like a shot in the dark. Somebody brought it up where like his measurements and timing of his injury lined up with like Todd Gurley's when he was a rookie. And Todd Gurley kind of came in at the end of the year and it was a crappy team, but he did stuff. And then they kind of got him into fantasy stardom in the few years following. I just think he's something to keep in mind. I mean, Braylon Allen, I don't know if he's a stash. I think he's a solid guy over Brees.
Great stash. Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are, I'm just thinking like, think of my top tier running backs and then find a backup I like.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, because that's running back stashes win leagues, right? We all know fantasy football is going to turn into a joke week 14, 15, 16. And, guys we've never heard of are going to be winning people thousands of dollars.
Speaking of stashes, does anyone know what happened to Marshawn Lloyd? Like, is he like alive? Do we know? Like
on IR.
He started the season on that. Because I haven't heard from him in so long, and I was like, that was a guy that I was thinking at the beginning of the season.
Me too.
Like he had a hamstring injury, but Jacobs is Jacobs, and they didn't have anybody. But they've been running, Manny Wilson out there for a lot. He's been solid, and they've got another guy that I've never heard of that I saw them running out there last week. So I guess Marshawn Lloyd just must be just out of sight, out of mind at this point. Probably
dead for fantasy.
I have a bunch of leagues. Just I have Lloyd as like whenever, especially if I have an IR spot.
Yeah,
somebody's not hurt on my team that week. I'll just like add Marshawn Lloyd.
Like so sick.
He's just been on and off my team in a lot of leagues if I have IR spots.
That transaction list is a mile long of Brian every 2 days picking him up and dropping him.
Brian, would you do this trade in points leagues? There is no trade. Okay.
Yeah, Rasmus, if you can get us a trade, we'll certainly come back to you. But we need a trade to work with.
NFL points leagues?
I don't even understand it. Maybe it's supposed to be basketball. All right. Wayne T's back. All right. My last week 9 question. Who to start flex PPR? Josh Jacobs or JSN? Oh, okay. We'll stick with you, Brian. Right. We got DK's out. Jacobs questionable, but I think he's going to play. Plus a lot of rain. I think this one's pretty easy. But Brian?
Yeah, I'm going Jacobs. I just
Right.
feel like he has such a higher floor and ceiling with scoring.
Anyone want to back JSN here?
No, but
I
I'm
probably
I'm
do.
upset about JSN. I think he should be doing so much better than he is, and it bums me out.
Welcome to the show, Patrick. Yes, I am also the biggest JSN guy. I got him everywhere, but so this
I have
hopefully
him a
this is
lot
the
of
game.
places, and it seems like he should be doing about 25 to 30% better than he is, and he just isn't, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, maybe this is the week. All right, I've been saying that for almost a year and a half.
Maybe he'll take the
Anthony.
Nico Collins track.
Um,
Take a few years.
yeah,
Unfortunately, Nico Collins is like 6'3" and like an absolute freak, and JSN is like tiny, but I love him.
Okay, let's keep going here. We got about 20 minutes left, so we want to talk some more stuff. So we got, all right, Anthony, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft. This is pretty much this is Tucker Kraft and elevated Cole Kmet. What are we doing? I think no weather. We're easily doing Tucker Kraft, but weather, Jordan Love out. Are we risking it for the biscuit?
I don't know that it's easily either way. Over the past 4 weeks, Tucker Kraft is the tight end 2, Mark Andrews is the tight end 3. But I will go Andrews just because of the weather up there in Green Bay that we're expecting. But otherwise, it's a toss-up. But I'll lean Andrews because the weather this week.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's smart. And Jordan Love hurt too, right?
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So what do you? We got one of the bad weather games. What are you doing? What's your model say? Right. Well, I don't even know what's the total for this game. The Packers Lions. It should be 52.
My model is mostly just based off over under. So if it's a higher, like I let Vegas do that for me. Basically, I'm not gonna try to be smarter than Vegas. Try to be smarter than the weather.
the over/under is 47.5, by the way.
Okay, 47. Yeah. Okay.
I had them at 48.5, so it's probably
Sure.
gone down slightly just from the weather.
Right.
But yeah, I don't try to guess any of that stuff. So I just use Vegas numbers, and then the totals for my projections are just based off kind of like yards per point projected, basically something along those lines. And then a bunch of other math in the background that gives me like the breakout between passing and rushing.
So the rain kind of is the model breaker, right? Because we know Jared Goff's small hands. I mean, I can't imagine anyone's betting the over in this game, or Amon Ra, passing yards over, Goff passing touchdowns.
I don't know. The Lions though are so scary, and they run the ball so well that they can score so many points so quickly that you have to kind of be brave to take a Lions under. I feel like, especially if it's not in the 50s.
That's true. That's true. It's a good point.
Like they scored 40 points against Tennessee so quickly last week. It was insane.
That was a lot of special teams and defense setting them up.
Yeah.
I know they had at least one
Goff.
return touchdown. Did they have a second? I know there was one, whether it was a kick return or a punt.
They had one return touchdown. Then I think they had a few where they just had like 30 yards to go because of good returns, but not touchdowns.
David Montgomery threw a touchdown pass to Laporta.
Laporta.
They were doing all kinds of weird stuff.
The only way Laporta can get on the board. Okay, let's keep moving here. We got Boss Man. I love that. Boss Man. All right, pick one full PPR. Okay, we got a lot of people. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Patrick, let's start. Let's just rule 2 guys out for me.
Okay, so full PPR, the name that I like here is Khalil Shakir, just because he is a target efficiency monster. He's the best receiver in the game in terms of target percentage that he catches. So your chances of getting like 5 for 50 plus is great with him. And I don't know if I trust any of these other names. Maybe if Cedric Tillman had a better matchup, I would like Cedric Tillman.
Disastrous.
But Deontay, no way. Not in his like first real game. Calvin Ridley, you might as well just. I don't know how you predict Calvin Ridley right now. And then Dobbs, I think just in the rain and that kind of weird Jordan Love. So I think Shakir pretty clearly would be my one here.
Clearly, okay. Anthony, what about you? Anyone? Can we rule anyone out?
I'm going to rule out Cedric Tillman. My pick here is Calvin Ridley. My pick here is going to be Calvin Ridley.
He had a monster last week, right?
Yeah, I think he had like 15 targets last week. D-Hop is gone. He's the only guy on that offense. Tony Pollard, I think they said is expected to play, even though he didn't practice all week, so that scares me. Tajay Spears is ruled out. Calvin Ridley is the only guy on that offense that they can get the ball to. Just again, Pollard's good, but he didn't practice all week, so I just can't really trust that he's gonna stay healthy all game or get a lot of volume and a lot of work. So give me Calvin Ridley.
Pat's defense too, which actually isn't good, but Christian Gonzalez is good. So
that would be my concern. That's what popped in my head because I remember he's playing the Pats. Now, obviously, I think the case on that is good, and especially if we think that Ridley has turned the corner now that Hopkins is out and there's basically no one else to throw to. I don't know. Can't say with certainty whether Christian Gonzalez is usually a shadow guy, but I know he's very good.
Yeah. Okay, we got a lot of people going 45 minutes. Anyone on Twitter, jump over to YouTube, give us some questions. We're gonna go maybe 15 minutes, a shade longer. Maybe we'll try and get everything we got. If not, jump over to Discord, pop them in. I will be looking at Discord right after this, and after I make some more bets, which we're gonna talk about too soon, because that's really my favorite part. Brian, great deal. What do we got here? Is it Shakir and Ridley for you?
I mean, yeah, my rankings have Shakir, Ridley, Dobbs, Tillman. Johnson isn't really. I saw something that he was only supposed to play like 10 to 15 snaps, so he's just
exactly.
Hey, I want to make a note quickly on your boy Christian Gonzalez here. I was looking it up because I thought I heard he hasn't been playing that great this season. Oh, yeah. And I'm looking on PFF. His cover grade is 60th out of 201 corners.
Okay, so not good.
He doesn't scare me.
There
you go. I know he was good last week.
Give me Ridley. Give me the volume. I think he's good on that offense.
I love it. Okay, and then Brian, what if Amari Cooper's questionable? If he's ruled out, is it Shakir? Does Shakir just get the huge bump?
I mean, that wide receiver room confuses me because Keon Coleman's also now just coming on apparently, and you would think they added a wide receiver because I thought when they added one, they're like, all right, Keon Coleman, maybe next year he'll kind of break out, and then he decides. I just feel like with those rookie wide receivers, you never know. I think it'll be split. Like you'll probably if Cooper's out, you'll probably get like 20 to 25% for both Shakir and Keon Coleman target shares. I currently only have him projected at like 16%, and Shakir's still like way above everyone else for me. He's just been very efficient with his targets.
Yep. Well, it seems like Cooper goes sideline, and then Coleman's running the X receiver. He reminds me like Mike Williams, right? He just runs that one route down the sideline, and Allen can hit him with a laser over the top. So, and Shakir gets to operate the whole middle.
Khalil Shakir is 36 for 38 this year in catching his targets. That's crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous.
So let's remember this one. So it's just Shakir versus Ridley. Anthony's back in Ridley. Everyone else is on Shakir. Let's see who's right. But no, I mean Mason Rudolph scare you though, Anthony?
No, Calvin really did what he did last week with Mason Rudolph at the helm. So no, not really.
Okay, perfect. All right, sick news guns. Okay. Floor ceiling. Would you say Ridley's got the ceiling, Shakir's got the floor?
I would say that's accurate as well. Like if I have to give the Ridley case, it's probably that I don't think Shakir can have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I think Ridley maybe can.
Okay, cool. So that. So Mad Max. I really want to start Taysom over Ferguson. I think he gets good volume today, running to try to work hard back into it, and he's also the RB2 today. Okay. Well, Anthony, let's stick with you. You getting all the tight end questions. What are we? Although I know Brian loves Taysom. What are we doing?
Taysom Hill is definitely a bit enticing, especially going against the Panthers. They are horrific, disastrous run defense, as I like to say today. But if you want to call your shot, I get it. This might be a week to do it, but I'm going to stick with the safety of Ferguson. I can never, unless I'm in a desperate spot, I can never get myself to pull the trigger to start Taysom Hill. But I see an argument today where it might pay off. I just don't trust it.
Brian, you starting Taysom? I know he's your guy. You don't you have him in every league and you complain about him every week?
I don't. I have him in a good amount of leagues. I've unfortunately dropped him in others just because I've traded for tight ends, but I'm starting him over Hawkinson in one of my leagues. Like I think, but that's also me somewhat like spreading my luck because I have Hawkinson in other leagues that I'm starting. So, but I just think, yeah, you have Jamal Williams out. You have Kendre Miller's on IR now. Jordan Mims is their second
Kamara broke
receiver.
hand.
Like, yeah, Kamara. I mean, Kamara's still going to play, I think,
Yeah,
but
of course. And peace.
I just think that he does a little bit of everything, and you're going against a team that will give up a lot of everything. So I just think he's a fun touchdown bet. I haven't checked his odds, but if it's above 200, I'll probably go in on it. And then,
Two
Talking
touchdowns.
about Taysom Hills.
yeah. And then I think he's been getting like last week, he got it was one of the highest target shares he's gotten all year from just a passing standpoint. So if he's going to get 5 targets and then rush it 5 times, like that's just way
And
more
throw
than
it
you
twice?
get from any other tight end.
Okay. Patrick, what are you? Are you taking the mystery box or the reliable Ferguson?
Hey, quickly, Patrick, real quick. Taysom Hill's anytime touchdown scoring odds, according to DK, are plus 175.
Okay.
It's not bad. I'm not brave enough to ever start Taysom Hill in any circumstance. I'm a coward when it comes to.
Well, if you are, this is the week, Carolina. Okay, let's keep going. We got some questions. Untamed Music. This is what we're talking about. Marvin Harrison or Josh Downs, half PPR. Oh my God. Brian, you were famously against Marvin Harrison Jr. Preseason, which I clowned, and I'm now wearing the makeup. What are we doing? Does anyone have the balls to take Marvin over Josh Downs?
I'll do it. I think I don't like Josh Downs. I think I'm lower on Josh Downs than a lot of people.
Don't tell Jason.
I don't think that's a good offense. And yet Joe Flacco's had his time. Joe Flacco's in the past had kind of streaks of good, and then when he comes full-time starter, it kind of goes downhill. I just think he's such a good backup QB because you come in, he's going to like sling the ball downfield. It's great, but once teams get more film, I just don't feel like it's sustainable anymore.
Well, we know Vikings, right? Flores is going to blitz him. He had a few extra days to prepare for him, right? He's coming after Flacco, right? So
yeah, Josh Downs is the deep guy. So if you're getting blitzed, you find the easiest outlet, and it's a tight end or it's Michael Pittman.
Or if you're Joe Flacco, you fucking just air it out.
We'll see. I'm not that high on him, but I mean, his numbers have looked good. I looked at him earlier this morning just to see why everyone likes him so much. I'm like, I get it if you have him on your team, but I just don't like all the numbers kind of backing him.
Okay, and I've learned my lesson. Don't bet against Brian's numbers. Patrick, I know you're backing Downs here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Downs guy, but I would say that I could see, like, similar to what we were talking about with Khalil Shakir versus Ridley. I could see that it's obviously a much more elevated version of that discussion, especially with Marvin Harrison, who's insanely talented. But I could see that if you were looking for the more likely to score 2 touchdowns and go for 100 yards, I would say that's probably Marvin Harrison of the two here. But I would say Downs only because the Bears defense is good. It's like complicated. It's not like I wouldn't say I would stay away from the number 1 receiver if your team is playing the Bears. But I do think the Bears defense has a chance to they'll take someone away. I'm just not sure who it will be in Arizona.
Okay.
The Bears have a couple injuries on defense. The Bears have been a great defense this year, but Jaquan Brisker, their starting safety, is out.
He has a weird concussion thing.
Yeah, like Montez Sweat and Kyler Gordon, the defensive end and corner, are also questionable. So there might be some holes in a normal.
They're also benching Tyreek Stevenson for the Hail Mary thing. But Taylor Johnson's their best defender, and I would assume he sees a lot of Marvin Harrison, so I don't know.
Okay. So that's a tough one. I would go Downs. I like the Sunday nighter. I think the Vikings pass D can really be attacked, but that's crazy, right?
The Vikings are the best. The Vikings are the best defense to go against for wide receivers.
Yeah.
So,
which is crazy because they're a good defense. So I don't know.
I don't know how good they are. They might just be blitz heavy and the book's out. All right, Anthony, this one's all you. Yo, what up? In full PPR, do I start Ridley, Pittman, Jacoby Myers, Khalil Shakir? Ooh, this is nice.
Dear Lord. Um, I am probably going to go. You're gonna make me do this, but I think I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
taking up
I
every
think
seat on the bus.
I think I'm in on Calvin Ridley. I do like Michael Pittman a lot more with Joe Flacco at the helm. I think Joe
Sure.
Flacco is the best thing that could have happened for really all the pass catchers in this offense. But I'm going to go Ridley. I don't know if you were listening before, but he's the only guy that's healthy there in Tennessee. He had 15 targets last week. He was a top 5 at the very least receiver last week. All that with Mason Rudolph. I don't know if there's really a downgrade between Rudolph and Will Levis at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna stick to my guns here and play Calvin Ridley here.
Brian, this one's tough. I think they're all pretty much pretty close, right?
I mean, I think this almost comes down to like the same question we had earlier. And I think it comes down to Ridley and Shakir at the end of the day. And then we've already kind of had that conversation.
Okay.
So, like, I like Shakir. Myers has a pretty good matchup from my numbers. Like,
Bengals,
I was surprised at how high he was up. But, like, again, with the Colts receivers, you have Downs, you have Pittman, you have Pierce, and then you have the rookie and Adonai Mitchell. Like, yeah, they're all slightly upgraded, but 6 to 8 points in a PPR league doesn't do that much for me. So I'm still in Shakir.
Okay, cool. Anything, Patrick? We'll move on. Anything, jump in quickly?
Yeah, I mean, just full PPR, I would just say if I have a clear vision of what these guys will do, I think the clearest division is like 7 catches for 60 yards for Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. All right, J816 Doug. Okay, so homie pretty well. Jacobs, Tracy, or I guess that's going to be Devontae Smith for my flex. Okay, Anthony. So we got Jacobs questionable, Tracy pass concussion protocol. Devontae Smith has been mediocre lately, right, Brian? Not great.
Yeah, they've been pretty much AJ Brown and run heavy.
Yeah, AJ. Anthony, what are we doing? We got. You playing your boy, your giant?
No, I think Tyrone Tracy is actually third on my list. I think that these are 3 really good players, and I think that they're all startable this week. So, but I think Jacobs is probably the guy that I would play here. If he doesn't play, they play at 1:00, right? No,
Yeah,
they both.
No,
So
they're the
Devonta Smith
afternoon.
and Josh Jacobs both play the 4:00 window, so you'll know. I'd play Josh Jacobs if he plays. If Jacobs misses, I'm going to go Devonta Smith. But yeah, Tracy's third for me this week out of these 3.
Okay. So Brian, what do you? So we got 2 kind of conflicting things. We got Jacobs in the rain, which you want running backs in the rain, but then you got the Lions D, which is kind of a lead against the run. Do they cancel each other out, or does one weigh more than the other?
I'd say probably cancel each other out, but like I still don't like you. When did they know it was going to rain? That's my thing. So like if you think about game planning, they probably game planned all week for maybe a more pass heavy approach against a stud Lions defense. So,
but also Jordan Love, you don't want to be having him taking 8-step dropbacks all game.
That offensive coordinator can make. What is it, LaFleur? He's made a great offense, not a great offense, a solid offense out of Malik Willis. Like I trust him to just run a quality offense and pick it apart. So, I mean, I think Devonta Smith just has a good matchup against Jacksonville. The thing I worry about is like blowouts. So, do the Eagles start blowing the Jaguars out? And if Devonta didn't score in the first half, like they're just going to run the ball the rest of the week.
Oh, okay, guys. Sorry. So we got furious breaking news. Sorry. We got Amari Cooper is inactive, and Brian Robinson also going to be inactive. So maybe everyone check your lineups. Furious.
Whoa.
Ryan Robinson. Wow, that's surprising.
I know. I think I blurbed out that he was going to play. Okay, let's break this down. What do we? So Patrick, so Eckler, is Eckler a must-start player? Are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's not very helpful.
Eckler's been decent, I would say. I don't know if I would say he's must start though. I think that maybe is a bit. I mean, he'll definitely get some work, but I don't even know. Like if is it McNichols is their third guy?
Yeah, Jeremy McNichols.
Yeah, he's been getting usage when Robinson's been out. He's been getting like a lot of goal line looks.
Okay.
I would say Eckler's definitely an interesting flex player, I would say, for sure. I don't know if I would say must start, though.
Well, Anthony, you're the Giants fan. Does this make you excited? Do you now fear Eckler? Or do you fear Robinson? Do you fear McNichols? How does this affect you?
I actually really like Brian Robinson. The Giants are just kind of average against running backs. Like
He's
they're
getting gashed, though, right?
Yeah.
Najee smoked them. Saquon destroyed them.
Saquon is Saquon. We don't need to talk about that, especially with Brian here. I think that Eckler becomes more of a priority flex play where it's like I said before about, I think it was the Bills wide receivers. Like if you're in your flex and you're toying between Eckler and this guy or that guy, there's a good chance that the answer is Eckler, but it's not like 100%. But he definitely gets a bump. Seeing as he's the likely candidate to get more touches, unless, like Patrick said, they just working McNichols a bit more, who has been working in even when Brian Robinson and Eckler are both healthy. So
barely though. Okay, Brian, what are you doing? What are you doing with the model here? So Eckler, right now he's going to be getting rushes. Also, he's great in the receiving game. Is RB2?
I don't see him getting. I don't see him getting that many more. His rushing volume is going to go up a little, but I just think like Brian Robinson's pretty solid through the air too. So I just think the main benefit here is Eckler's probably going to be like the almost sole passing down back. McNichols probably takes 95% of the rushing downs that Robinson would have taken. So I just think I would assume because they're not just.
So where's McNichol then? Is he now a low-end flex play, like 14 team? What are we doing?
I mean, he's solid. I don't think he's like that great. Just because I still think Eckler's getting all the passing down work. Yeah. Like that's the valuable work. Robinson, I think, could easily be like a workhorse back. They just have other running backs that they use. So I just think that's probably their most efficient way of doing it. But I think you're going to see Eckler get way more of the passing down work, and then McNichols will get, 10 carries or so. So you're just hoping for with him.
10 carries, I can work with that. I might start him in my big money league. I'm gonna have to check it out. So Patrick, what? Amari Cooper out too. So what is that? How does this change the hierarchy of realignment?
Anthony said earlier in the show, I think it's Keon and Khalil Shakir are both really decent options now. I mean, I think that's pretty. They both looked really good in the last two games, even with Amari Cooper. And I think that's definitely a possibility to lean into both if it makes sense.
But so where do we put Keon Coleman? So Keon Coleman or JSN?
Oh God. I mean, probably JSN just because DK's out again. I would say Khalil Shakir over JSN though, which is actually something that I'm doing in a league where I have that Tyreek Cup team. I'm playing Tyreek Cup, Terry McLaurin, and then my fourth is either Khalil or JSN, and I'm going Khalil.
Okay, so Anthony, how high do we put Shakir? So Shakir, like Olave, Josh Downs, or is he getting that much of a bump? Or
I'd probably put Shakir. I would put him right around. Yeah, I mean a mid-tier wide receiver too, maybe around like a Marvin Harrison, Darnell Mooney type of deal this week. I think that he could be pretty good, and it makes me think a little bit more on my Ridley or Shakir takes. I still think I'd probably lean Ridley, just because he's going to be the surefire guy, but it definitely makes me think a bit more.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Okay. Zone Read Fantasy. Okay. What up? Thanks for chipping in. So we've been going an hour. We're going to wrap up pretty shortly. But so you got any questions, if you're on Twitter, jump over quickly, send them in, or send them to Discord. We will get to them because, these are pretty shocking sits late in the game. So, Brian, what are we doing here? Nice and simple. Pollard, Jaden Reed, half PPR.
I would go Pollard, assuming he plays. I just think he's who does that, as we've been saying before, who does that offense have? Sure, you got someone through the air now with Ridley, but I just think he's going to get volume. And yeah, it might be ugly, but they're projected to win. They're projected to get 20, like 0.25 points. So that has to go somewhere. And the most likely outcomes are Pollard and Ridley.
So this is quantity over quality, right? You know, that offense isn't great, but those feed Pollard. Where Packers offense is great, but Reed is just one of many, right?
Yeah,
I think that's pretty easy. We're Pollard all day, right? Anyone go bat for Reed?
I don't feel strongly enough.
I think I trust Reed a little bit more just because Tony Pollard, it's a great matchup. And normally this is a smash Tony Pollard, but he didn't practice all week. And that really just scares me.
Yeah,
that scares me enough to go with Reed, even with a limited Jordan Love, or when I shouldn't say when, if he has to leave the game because he aggravates it, they get him the ball on the ground. I think Reed has a safe floor, and I'm just worried Pollard comes in, plays 3 or 4 plays.
Yes.
Aggravates his foot because he didn't practice all week, and that's the end of it.
Yep. Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna back Pollard though. I don't mess with brain games and receiving options, even though they might gadget him a bit. You know, injured QB in the rain. I'm out on Green Bay. I'm benching everybody except for Jacobs. But that's just me. All right, we got a couple more here. Furious, what up, my man? You are always active. I love it. Also, QB start. Okay, Bo Nix or Drake May. Okay, rookie time. Patrick, what are we doing?
Knicks. Don't want to mess with whatever Drake May's situation is. And
yeah.
And that Titans defense is weirdly very good. And so, except when they're in like terrible game scripts. So, Knicks, no question.
Brian, May, anyone want to bat May? Go bat.
I have May as my lowest ranked quarterback of the week.
Well, that settles that. Moving on now.
That does settle that. Okay. All right, Andy, this one's all you. Jess Winchester, flex. We got Brian Thomas Jr., Tillman, Chubb, Hawkinson. Okay. I love it when the questions are all very similar. Can we rule out Hawkinson? We're not betting him first game back.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet on TJ Hawkinson his first week back. He's talented, but let's let him settle in off of a knee injury that had him sit out the end of last year and all this year so far. Tillman, I mean, the matchup is, like I said before, disastrous.
So Chubb. We're going to getting chubby. This could be the breakout game. He's had 2 warm-ups. He's got a nice
BTJ, doesn't it?
I think I'm still going to go Brian Thomas Jr.
All right, so you guys were talking about Thomas Jr. before, and I did want to get on this. What's the difference? Like, does anyone know what the chest injury is? Is it like ribs or?
I don't think
he gets hit hard once, and then he's also out for it. Like you kind of mentioned with Pollard, he gets hit hard once, then he's out for the rest of the game. He scares me in a lot of leagues.
Yeah,
I think it's fair.
That's fair.
But it's like, Brian, if you need points, right? Thomas is ceiling, right? It's just him and Evan Ingram. Eagles secondary's crap. You know, if he's just tough, he's just not going to tackle to score touchdowns. It's not
their secondary has actually been very good the past few weeks.
Okay, very good. Okay.
I mean, maybe it's who they've played. No offense to the Giants and
the Giants stink. All offense to the Giants, they stink.
Yeah, all offense. Offense taken. So you leaning Chubb here, Brian? You think?
Yeah.
Chargers run D it's historically been crap, but I think it's been decent this year, right?
Chubb's looked kind of good since coming back, and I feel like he's just working up to a solid workload. I mean, yeah, Thomas Jr. by far has the biggest ceiling. He just scares me with the injury. Like I thought he was going to be out all week, so I didn't even.
4 weeks.
Well, yeah, and I didn't model him in the model just because I thought, like, all right, I'll just put everyone else in. I don't think he's playing, but if he plays, he plays. Like, I just worry about getting banged up again. I don't exactly know what a chest injury is. We don't have our injury expert Jason on here, but
Angel of Death.
Yeah, Brian, this probably won't change your mind because you're worried about the injury, but Jerome Ford is back this week as well. Chubb's a better player, but Jerome Ford is a good player who is going to take some work. Again, I know you're more worried about the injury, so I don't know if that changes your answer, but just wanted to add that context.
Fair.
Chubb's just kind of running the ball though, right? Like entirely, and he'll have like 15 carries and no catches. So maybe
they've been using him more in the passing game. They've been checking down, but Jameis doesn't like to check down. So
yeah, Jameis is going to sling it.
So maybe Chubb on the wheel route, but I would go
Chubb
Chubb
is 5
here.
targets, okay.
I'm not messing. I remember I've started like T Higgins when he's questionable, and then he plays like 2 snaps and does nothing. It's just there's just too many. The floor is too invisible. Where Thomas could have a 0, right? Chubb, he's getting 13 carries, 50, 60 yards, probably even finds the end zone. But if Thomas is healthy, he's going to go crazy. But I'd rather wait and let him be healthy next week and then know rather than risk it for the biscuit. But that's just me.
I just got a notification Tony Pollard's in. I mean, that's at least a confirmation. Obviously it still doesn't practice, so you never know what'll happen, but just for anyone watching.
All right, we're gonna go a couple more minutes here. Everyone good? Everyone good? A couple more minutes?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm free.
Okay, great. I got nothing to do. Because also T Higgins just ruled out, right? So we didn't get to talk bets. I'm gonna all right. We're gonna answer this question. We're gonna talk some bets. No, we're gonna talk right now. Jamar Chase to the moon. Like
we're talking bets now. Let me see what I had for that game. That game, we'll talk about Jamar Chase first. Yeah, I think Jamar Chase is going to be excellent. Obviously, he's a stud. You start him every week, no matter what the situation is.
But I'm talking bet 84.5 yards. Does anyone?
I would probably definitely take the over there. If that's what his line is, I'm taking the over. I might
Ryan,
even
go. What do you got for Jamar Chase?
102.
I was about to say I might go alt line over 100, so I think Brian's with me. I'm confirmed by the model.
Okay, wow. I'm gonna go back. Okay, I'm gonna bet that again. Okay, let's go 102. Got it. That just made me so happy. All right, Buffalo Bills fan, what up, man? Go Bills. Hello, guys. Got offered a trade, half PPR league, giving up Tyreek Hill for Kareem Hunt, Devontae Smith. Oh my God, he's got Cup. I can't imagine you're going to do this. Patrick, what do you think? You giving up Tyreek for some spare parts?
I don't know. Tyreek's been frustrating experience. I would say that what I would want to know more about is not who this guy's receivers are, but who this guy's running backs are, because I don't like you're throwing Devonta Smith into this mix of various dudes here is not like a huge game changer. This guy is a very similar run out to me, though. He has Tyreek Cup Higgins, which is something that I did as well on that team that I keep talking about. I don't know, like how bad do you need Kareem Hunt? I think that would be the question, because otherwise I would just probably keep Tyreek.
Yeah, it depends how big the league is, right? Smaller league, you want the best player. So maybe if it was 14 teams.
And also, how many of these guys are you starting every week? Would be my question. Is it 3 or 4?
3? Yeah, that all matters. But I think Tyreek's going to go off. I would not be You can't trade Tyreek at his bottom. That's rule 1 of fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's on the way back up too with Tua back. He had a modest game last week, but
isn't Tua always terrible against the Bills?
Yes, so is Tyreek. So,
I mean, one thing I would think about, like just from the value of Kareem Hunt, I do still think that Pacheco is going to come back.
There's an update.
That'll mostly, I think it'll mostly ruin your playoffs. So, like, if you're desperate to get into the playoffs, I think Kareem Hunt is a good, solid. Like, he has a lot of value now just because he's going to get a crap ton of volume on a winning offense. But if you're already a winning team, I definitely wouldn't do this just because Hunt's value is going to, in my opinion, I think it'll decrease a crap ton once you get to playoffs just because it'll be a 4-back timeshare with Pacheco trying to work his way back for playoffs. Real playoffs.
Just don't trade Tyreek at the bottom. I mean, normally I'd say wait for this week, then you get a value, but he never pops versus the Bills, but maybe he's due. He also said his running backs, Patrick, so he's got Chubb, Kenneth Walker, Bigsby, Etienne. So,
no. You don't need to mess with that.
Yeah,
those are good running backs. Just like play Kenneth Walker and Chubb every week. No, you don't need to make that trade.
Okay, we gotta wrap up. We're almost in 85 minutes. Wait, 75 minutes. Okay. Last question. Anthony, sorry, Fierce, I know. You're the most active. I love it though. Leggett, Eckler, Pop Douglas. 2 flexes out of these 3. Cooper got ruled out. What are we doing?
I'm just gonna go with Eckler.
I think you get 2.
I don't want to mess with the pass catchers on the Panthers, and it's just ugly in New England. So I'll go with Austin Eckler, especially now that Brian Robinson's ruled out.
I would do Leggett as the second if you needed the second. I just
My boy Pop
Douglas is so. It's
Amazing.
been impossible to see what Pop Douglas is, and Leggett has at least had a couple of really solid weeks.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, I have that. I have the same Eckler, Leggett, Pop. Pop is that. Yeah, that offense is just meh.
Like a 5'8" wide receiver on that Patriots offense is just not something that is.
Well, I'm starting Pop Douglas twice. That's what I'm doing. So.
They have like 5 or 6 wide receivers that are all like pretty similarly skilled, in my opinion. From like Douglas, Polk, Booty, Bourne, Osborne, Thornton. Like
Booty has looked really solid the last couple of weeks. I'm kind of confused by that, but I'm kind of, if he has another couple of good weeks, he might kind of become the guy in that offense.
Yeah, I just think Hunter Henry's their lead receiver.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like sexy points. It's just like workhorse volume.
Yeah, I think you got to start Eckler. But Leggett, Pop, I'm starting Pop. Leggett's solid, but he's questionable. He's going to play. I got a soft spot for Pop Douglas. Plus, I'm starting him everywhere else. So, but if you want to win, I don't know. Leggett, the Saints D's crap. Yeah, I think Lattimore is out too. So
Lattimore's out. Oh wow.
I think so. I'm pretty sure I saw that. But
yeah, I think I saw that too.
But okay, we got to wrap up though. So anyone last words? Brian, anything last piece of advice other than bet AJ Brown this week?
I mean, I would say the one random bet that stuck out to me this week, if we want to do that, I really like Mooney above 60 yards receiving.
Okay.
He's I hate that he's been so good because I don't have him anywhere, but he's been really solid. And I feel like he's got a good matchup this week against their Dallas, right? Just high over under. Like I'm a big fan of Mooney this week.
Mooney, okay. Patrick, what do you got anything for me?
Trust Josh Downs.
I love it, man.
I'm willing to. He's gonna have like 3 catches and like 25 yards, and I'm gonna look dumb. But for him being my entire take this week, basically. But Josh Downs, my guy.
Josh Downs, 4.5 catches. I probably will put a little on it.
4.5 catches. I like over there.
Okay.
I don't know. Like he might only get like 40 yards if he's just getting like.
So catches over yards.
Yeah, but I like catches for sure. He's going to get a bunch of targets. He's got 9, like I said before, he's got 9, 12, 9 with Flacco this year. Targets.
Okay. Josh Downs. There's going to be a Justin Jefferson, Josh Downs parlay coming my way. I know we didn't really get to your segment today because we ran low, but hit me with a couple quick.
No, that's all good. I'm going to sneak it in here because I'm scrolling through trying to pick my favorite, and I noticed I have a bunch of anytime touchdowns. So I'm going to give you a nice little anytime touchdown parlay here. We're going to go Chase Brown on the Bengals anytime touchdown.
Okay.
We'll go with, sorry, I got to scroll a little bit. Jaden Daniels anytime touchdown, meaning he's getting one on the ground against the Giants. Chuba Hubbard anytime touchdown against the Saints. And then the last one is a Mark Andrews anytime touchdown against the Broncos.
Ooh, that's nice. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We love it. Love the questions. If we didn't gift anything or we missed it or something, just hit me on Discord. I will check it out before the 1 p.m. games. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Anthony. Brian, you suck, but whatever. Okay. Later, guys. Cheers.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.